Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I decided to try this fox eye trend and this is what I got. So if you want to see how I got this look, then please keep on watching. So here I'm just starting off by applying some tape to the corner of my eyes, which is so necessary for this. I've never done this before in any makeup look, but I did it today and it was definitely a staple in doing this eye look. So I'm using this Dose of Color Sassy Sienna's palette, and I just used the third color and a small fluffy brush to just start creating this kind of like winged, dragged out effect on the eyelid. So just a sidebar, I shaped my own brows. I cleaned them up and I kind of did a new shape that kind of went with this look. I was trying to make them more like flat and drawn out, and I think I did a really good job despite this quarantine and not being able to get my eyebrows done. I think I did a pretty good job, but I had to do them off camera because I really had to focus on getting them right. So next I'm using this soft brown color in this Too Faced chocolate bar palette that I pointed to, and I'm taking a fluffy brush again and I'm just putting that color like right on top of this warm brown. Well, not warm brown, but that orangey brown that I used from the Sassy Sienna's palette. And this is just kind of to diffuse that color and start to make it look a little blown out so it's not as much of a sharp angled line. So honestly, for this look, it was just a lot of like layering mixed with precision, mixed with blending. Even though it seems like it was not that difficult, it was just a little bit more work than I thought it was going to be. So I'm using a fluffier brush and I'm doing just that. I'm kind of just blowing out the color and making it look not as precise. So again, I'm doing the same things, just kind of using that brush to blow out the color so that, I only want the sharpness to be where the tape is. Like I want this to look like, that kind of winged liner effect, but at the same time, like I want it to be kind of like smoked out and blown out and just look really nice and blended. So here I'm just trying to like blend the color a little bit more into my lid, and I was feeling myself because I was liking my progress so far. So now I'm using like a smaller defining brush and I'm taking the last shade in the Sassy Sienna's palette, and this is going to help start to just darken that line that is supposed to be precise. So closest to the tape, I'm just placing that color. So each time that I place a color afterwards, I kind of just use a fluffy brush and just kind of blow it out a little bit and just make it look a little more diffused. I got nervous right here because it went a little bit more into my eyelid than I wanted it to, but it's fine. I worked with it. I just blended it out a little bit more and I ended up liking the way that it looked. So now I'm using this black shade in the same Too Faced chocolate palette and the same small defining brush, and this is going to create the darkness that I need right at that line where the tape is at. So I'm just going to be blending that black shadow kind of upward and going for that, continued smoked out kind of blended effect. And then I'm also going to bring the black shadow onto my lash line as well. So I tried to take the black liner, or the black shadow rather, and put it on my inner tear duct to create that fox eye trend also that I've seen, where like, they have kind of like the flick of the black liner in the tear duct, but it really wasn't working for me. So I just did that little bit that you see and I left it as is. So now I'm taking the color that I just pointed to in the Too Faced palette, and I'm just using that to be my neutral shade for all over the lid. And I'm just taking like a short fluffy brush and just packing that all over. So after I put that shadow on, I wasn't really satisfied with how my fox eye was looking. So I picked up a little bit more of that color from the Sassy Sienna's palette, and I just started to try and rebuild and intensify the fox eye look. Finally, I'm finished with the eyes, and I'm just taking off the tape here to see how everything is looking. I was definitely satisfied, and then moving forward you'll see like it just looks more dramatic and kind of put together once we start working on the face. I popped some lashes on. These lashes I actually got from AliExpress, and they're very like flared out towards the end, so they were perfect for this look. So now moving on to the face, I'm using my Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and I'm using my Fenty Beauty foundation in the shade 370. And yeah, I'm gonna just blend that all out with my Marc Jacobs foundation brush. So definitely you just want to be careful kind of blending out everything around the corners of the eyes. You don't want to take away that drawn out effect. So I was just really careful with blending my foundation. And that brush itself is actually kind of angled or slanted. So it was easier to blend the foundation that way. So I'm using my Tarte Shape Tape concealer to first conceal and slightly highlight under the eyes. And then I'm going to take some of my Fenty Beauty concealer. This shade is lighter. It's the shade 310. And I'm just focusing it on the outer parts of the eyes to kind of create a more drawn out look, or highlight the outer corner so that it looks more drawn out. I saw another YouTuber do that, so I figured I would try. I don't think it made much of a difference, so I probably need to try and do it a different way, but I just gave it a shot anyway. So now I'm just using my foundation stick by Juvia's Place, and this is to contour. And with this, I'm also being careful on how I blend. I'm not really blending too much into my temple area because I want to keep my concealer kind of high and drawn out. All right, so after doing all my contouring, now it's time to go in with some powders. So I'm using my Maybelline Fit Me loose powder in the shade 25, and I'm using just a sponge, and I'm kind of just pressing that powder under my eyes. It's not really like baking, it's just setting. So I'm just pressing it in, and then I'm gonna like blend it all out later. And I bring the powder up really high on the sides of my nose to help further contour my nose. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm gonna take my Laura Mercier powder, and I'm gonna use this under my cheekbones. This is the translucent powder. It's easier to blend this one out, so I use this one under my cheekbone so that when it's time to dust it away, I don't have too much of a harsh line left, that it'll be easy to just kind of blend it out and make sure there's no super harshness under there. This is the Sephora Micro Smooth Powder. I'm just using this with a big fluffy brush all over the face to tie all the powders together and kind of eliminate some of the harshness that's there. I'm using some bronzer by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This bronzer is so pigmented, so I literally just dip my brush like once and kind of pick up the product, and I kind of just really try and work on blending it out. I was having a hard time blending it out, but I tied it together with this blush anyway. And this blush is by Makeup Forever. It's a muted, kind of like light pinkish color. The color of this blush is just so pretty. The shade is 310, by the way. I love it, and I love the way that it looks on my skin. So now I'm just using some leftover eyeshadow on that definer brush and bringing some color to my under eye, and also highlighting now with some loose highlighter that's by Kylie Cosmetics. It's in the shade Fiji. I also added some mascara to my lower lashes too to kind of make them pop. So now finally moving on to lips, and then we are about done. I'm using MAC's lip liner in Cork, and I'm going to be using KKW's lipstick in the shade 3.5. Her nude lipsticks are bomb. I love them so much. I'm going to finish off the face with some setting spray. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm using this Artist Couture lip gloss in the shade Uncensored. This lip gloss is amazing too. I love it. I have 2 bottles. I love it so much. So yeah, finishing off with some setting spray, and that is the completed look, you guys. I'm so happy with the way that this turned out. I'm so proud of myself. I didn't think that it was going to look this good, but I love it. And yeah, this is my take on the fox eye trend. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching.